What's up everyone, it's Baka. Sat down to make a video to show you my tamper collection, and I have so many that it was just way too long, so I'm splitting it into two videos. First video will cover tampers I picked up from the early 2000s to about 2009. Second video will cover tampers from 2010 to present day. I think the only one that I don't have with me is the first tamper that I ever got, which was my 58mm Ergo Packer from Vivace. It's probably at my mom's house somewhere way far away. But I think I have everything else with me. We're going to take it in chronological order. I'll talk a little bit about each one. So this is video part 1 of my tamper collection. Let's get into it. Number 1. This is from the Ritual era. This is probably circa 2006. This is one of the first tampers I had too. This is a Espresso Parts lava tamper, and it started life as just a regular lava tamper, and then Terry Z made this big base for me. It's a 58.6 slight convex base, huge, and you see it's got the little Ritual logo on there. This was the first oversized tamper that I ever had, and used this tamper a lot. I used the stock base with it mostly for production bar, and I used the big base in the lab because the big base was just so big. The baskets weren't dialed in then, and I would get a lot of binding, and even when it did fit, it would create a lot of suction. So I use this mostly in the basement, tinkering with espresso, but use it with the stock base on bar every day. This was my favorite tamper for a really long time. Lava tamper, old school. All right, number 2, also another one from the Ritual era. Steve Ford came in with a few of these. I have no idea what brand they are, who makes them or anything, but they have just standard flat base. It's got the little rubber pad, kind of like the Pullman ones have now, and it also has a height adjustable handle, kind of like the Pullman ones do too. This is not a Pullman tamper. I don't know what it is, like I said. It's got a little rubber on the top, and I used this one for, I don't know, a few weeks, and it was kind of cool at first, but then at the end of the day I wasn't really into it. I was really into convex base back in the day, so the flat just wasn't doing it for me, and it felt pretty good. It's pretty comfortable, but it just wasn't my cup of tea, so this one went in the box after a pretty short life. Number 3, this is another Espresso Parts tamper. This is the Compressore tamp, and I'm pretty sure I got this from Terry as well. It used to be a different color on the handle, but I stripped it all off a few years ago and painted it. You can't tell now probably, but it's like a metal flake. It's got some sparkle paint in there. It's pretty pimpin'. I used this tamper for a good 6 months straight. This was one of my go-to tampers for a long time. Again, also Ritual era, it's probably 2006, 7, somewhere in there. And was really feeling it. It's pretty beat up on the back, but you can't tell because I painted over it. But you know, we were tapping a lot back in the day. No one's really tapping anymore. But it was the thing back then. So yeah, this thing was pretty badass. Mild convex base on it. Pretty comfortable. It's a little bit short for my hand. I would probably like it a little bit taller now, but back then I didn't mind. I kind of liked the short base. So this is my go-to for quite a long time. Compressore, Espresso Parts tamp. They still make these, I'm pretty damn sure. All right, now we're coming up into 2008. This is a Reg Barber from the 2008 Western Regional Barista Competition, which I won, and I think all of the top 6 got this tamper. Just a standard Reg, red, flat base, little WRBC logo on the bottom, and all of the tampers that I've gotten from competitions or ones that are on trophies, I never use them. So I've never used this tamper. I just take these, clean them off, and put them in a little box. If they come in a box, I'll keep them in that box. This one I don't think came in a box. It just kind of came standing there. So it goes in another special box I have. And it just kind of sits there. So 2008 WRBC, Red Reg Barber, tight. Okay, also 2008, another Reg Barber. This one I won for being the Barista's Barista, where everybody voted on who basically the nicest, coolest cat was, and apparently for some reason it was me. People must not know me that well, obviously. But this one's pretty rad. This was the first kind of tamper with some custom handle flare on it. So you see it's got these little steps lathed into it. It's pretty tight. It's also got the WRBC logo on the bottom. and it's also flat base, black, pretty tight. I was really pumped to get this tamper and really pumped to win that little barista competition or poll or whatever you want to call it. It really meant a lot to me at the time, and I'd always tried to go out of my way to be friendly and help people who were first-time competitors, because I remember when I first competed, nobody really did that for me, and it was pretty much a pain in the ass, and I kind of felt all alone. So I wanted to make sure that that never happened to anybody else. So I got this sweet tamper from it. 2008, WRBC. Okay, I got another one from 2008. This one is from the USBC, so all of the top 6 in the USBC 2008 got this one. It's another Reg Barber. This one is the C flat base, so slight taper on the side, totally flat on the bottom, and this was their new thing at the time. I'm pretty sure in 08 they had just came out with this, so I was pretty pumped on that. USBC logo on the bottom, United States Barista Championship 2008. I really like the blue on this handle, super pimp, and again, I've never used this tamper. It just kind of sits in a special place, but I really like, there's something special to me about this one, and I'm not sure why. 2008 was like a pretty weird emotional year for me, but I had a great time at USBC. I went there with Drew. We drove all the way to Minneapolis, and it was just like fucking nuts. And he tore it up too, but it was pretty badass. So feeling this tamper, 2008 USBC top 6 tamper. I got 4th that year, I think. Sick little tamper. All right, this is the last one from 2008, and this one is super pimp. It's not the coolest tamper ever, but it is highly sentimental for me. And this is one from Slow Food Nation 2008, which was a huge food event in San Francisco, and hands down the best coffee event I've ever worked at. There was like 4 GB5 set up, multiple robers for each bar, baristas from across the nation, East Coast, West Coast, probably out of the country, and you were teamed up with another barista and you were serving people, and it was all about the coffee. None of the coffee was branded with the different roasters or anything like that. It was just a killer event. And these are the tampers that were provided for the event, and pretty standard rattleware tamper. And on the top you can see it says SFN 08, Slow Food Nation 08. I'm probably not supposed to have this. This is maybe stealing, I don't know. But I have it, and I'm not ashamed of it. So Slow Food Nation, if you're curious about it, you should Google it, look up some pictures. It was a super kick-ass event. So this tamper I actually did use at the event, and it just magically ended up in my bag with me. So Slow Food Nation, holla. All right, we are finally out of 2008 and into the future. This tamper is from 2009, and this is one of the original Black Cat espresso craft tampers. I bought this from Terry. Took it home at the 2009 Western Regional Barista Competition in LA, which I did not compete at, and paid for it later. And you can see it's got the little Black Cat embellishment on it. It's got all kind of weird like fleur-de-lis, crisscross cross hatching, and some sweet paint. And I was 100,000,000,000% in love with this tamper. I was like, I have to have this tamper. We need to do this. He let me take it home and pay him later, and later the espresso craft got bought by 9th Street Espresso, and they had their logos on it. And I have there's a different base that I also use with this tamper, same size and everything. I like the original one just a little bit better, and this took over all of my tamping duties. The handle was like just about perfect for me, and the base was nice and thin, which I really like the thin base. It just felt really comfortable on my hands, and there was not a lot of radius on this upper edge here, which I really liked. It almost kind of felt sharp at first because I used my fingers a little bit, but I got used to it and I really loved it. And this thing did pretty much all of my heavy lifting for me from 2009 for at least a year or two. It was solid. I didn't want to use anything else. This was the thing. Kind of abandoned all my other Tamps and was all in on the Black Cat thing. And it was pretty funny because I think I had a Black Cat Tamper before a lot of people from Intelligentsia had the Black Cat Tamper. And this was the time they were coming into LA and Silver Lake, and I think Kyle was like, how did you get that thing? I was like, just gotta talk nice to the right people, you know? So, Black Cat Tamper, freaking love it. Perfect. I would still use this today. Kind of feeling it. All right, 2010, another competition Tamper. This one is from the Western Regional Barista Competition 2010, or maybe it was the Southwestern by then. They started changing it up, so I can't remember which. I got third place in that one. That was a performance where I brought people out of the crowd and served 6 people instead of just the 4 judges. It was the most fun I've ever had on stage. And I think this is an espresso parts tamper. It's pretty sweet. It's got that same cross hatching on it. Flat base, little maybe bronze. I don't think it's copper. I think it's bronze ring in there. Oh, Western Regional. It says Western Regional Barista Competition on the top. Wood, and this was part of the trophy. So there's the trophy with the portafilter, and then this was plunk sitting right there. So again, I've never used this one. I probably wouldn't like it anyway. It's a little too bottom heavy, and the handle's maybe a little too short to do what I want to do with it. But it is badass looking, and I'm super proud to have it. So 2010 WRBC Tamper. There you go. Alright guys, that's the end of video part 1 of my Tamper collection. Tune in for video part 2, and I love all of you. Peace.